Hey everybody, this is Perch. I used to do this bit when I would consult with certain groups, and it was called the "but what if" exercise. And the idea is like, hey, I know you have your point of view. I know you're positive about how things work. If you've ever gone to a company or to a group of people, they'll tell you absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, this is how things work. This is how things are. This is how they always have been. There's no sense in change. Change is ridiculous. It's this is always how it's been. I guarantee you, everyone listening to this video right now has had that happen to them at least once. You've encountered this before. But it's this way. It's always been this way. I won't consider different ways because it's always been this way. To consider other ways is stupid. It's a waste of time. Let's get to work. Stop focusing on things that aren't possibly true. So this is this but what if exercise. So okay, granted, all those things are true. We all know what we know, and they're undeniable facts. No argument, all good. But what if? And my what if statement comes from another. I've got about two or three questions on this, and various people talk about this on Twitter on a regular basis. Mark Brooks wrote this. This is going to be my last tweet regarding Comicsgate, because honestly, this is exhausting. I have far better things to do and have a successful, happy life to live. He has a happy life he wants to get back to. All right, all good. So this is and then he goes into kind of a master plan and this using tactics against them and everything else. And whenever I read stuff like this or I look at emails that come in, my question is always, but why? And the but why is it's really, but why are you bothering? And so my what if statement for you is, what if you just ignored Comicsgate? What would happen? What drives me crazy about the culture war in general, around all sides, is that people are determined to keep fighting it. You've got to keep fighting. If you don't keep fighting it, bad things will happen. What are those bad things? Unclear. It's unclear. Well, they'll win. If you don't keep fighting it, they'll win. But win what exactly? What is the point? I see. I've got a couple friends who are doing crowdfunded things, and I'll tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the ones that are most successful, that are friends, are the ones that are not really paying attention to what's going on in the mainstream industry. They're not going out every day saying Marvel and DC are out to screw them or any of that. They're just making their comic. They've kind of focused on the important thing. The important thing to them is making money. I see a lot of comic professionals. So I've asked them directly, like, hey, why are you bothering with Comicsgate? Seriously, because for some, it's almost a daily exercise of getting in there and posting. And like, if you read Brooks's thing, I mean, he goes on and on about sneaky tactics he's using and psychological warfare, and he's going to maneuver. He's playing this in-depth chess game against these people. And absolutely, I'm sure there are people on the other end who are playing it back. I'm sure there's some Comicsgate people. I know there are, because I got several emails going, hey, what do you think of this latest development in the Mark Brooks war? And my answer was, the what? The Mark Brooks war? Who cares? I mean, seriously. From a practical standpoint, the what matters about Mark Brooks is, does he have a cover out? Is it being sold at a small rate, high rate? Like what is that's it. That's it. Beyond that, I don't care. I don't live near him. Like, I don't know if he's got roosters somewhere. Maybe he's got a farm of roosters and they start making a lot of noise at 6 a.m. and it's a pain in the ass. I don't know. I don't know if he leaves his his dirty laundry out in the backyard and it blows into other people's yards. I mean, I have no idea what's going on in the life of Mark Brooks. The only thing that is tangible is that he does variant covers from time to time. And as a retailer, or so within the retailer group, you keep track of that. If you want them, you don't want them, you're willing to buy into an incentive program in order to qualify for them. I mean, that's economics. Beyond that, don't really care. So what the tactics around the Mark Brooks war sounds, I'm sorry, retarded. And I understand that's not a word we should be using and whatever, but that just, like, God, I can't imagine such a waste of time. But I really don't. I understand if you're if you're not, you don't have a job to do, meaning you're not in comics writing, drawing, whatever else, trying to scrape together some cash so you don't have to do a GoFundMe. If you're not in that group, I understand you might have some free time and you want to engage in this culture war because you're bored. I mean, I get it. But say I'm bored and so I'm doing this is not a terrible answer. I mean, it's not how I spend my time, but at least there's an answer there. I want some entertainment, so I'm giving myself some. Okay, fair enough. But if you work in comics, what are you doing wasting your time with this? And it really is wasting your time. And the part that this is the part that breaks my brain is you, the comic professional, will say things like, Comicsgate is a tiny little group of malcontent jerk offs who are constantly bitching in order to monetize it for YouTube, and they're not even worth your time. I always cracks me up when I see two comic professionals talking to each other, and they're like, "Oh, those CG guys are after me. Oh, they're a bunch of annoying little gnats that don't have any bearing to anything." And yet, you're talking about them every day. Why? Seriously, why? This is not, none of this, by the way, is a defense of Comicsgate. It's literally a, I'm confused why you're investing your time constantly into talking about something that you yourself say you don't care about. I mean, honestly, I wish I was living in a world where a lot of comic artists are like, man, we really have to focus on these comics people. We have to focus on argument, because then I could say, no, but you probably don't, because you have your customer base, you're doing your thing. I mean, you can just ignore it. It's okay. You can choose in, choose out. Totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. At least there would be a dialogue there. But when the person themselves go, CG and all those people are useless, and I don't care, and none of them matter, and they're irrelevant to comics, and then they keep spending time talking about it. And I will tell you, I do interviews with various comics professionals, and from time to time somebody will ask me, it's like, where do you sit in this whole Comicsgate thing? And I say, I make videos, sir. I like, this is a Wendy's. No, I mean, not like that, but just like, who cares? You have some life experience. I want to get you to talk about that life experience. You're going to put it out on a video, and then some people get to hear it. You get to completely own your narrative. It's your party. So let's hear what you have to say. That's the game. That's the relationship that's taking place here. The rest of it, who cares? I'm confused why people keep going into this. So again, I read Mark Brooks' thing, and it's like, I engaged in these tactics to do this and this and that. The only positive bit in that whole thing was his first line, like, I'm going to stop talking about this for a while. Thank God. Please stop talking about it. All of you stop talking. Either you're in or you're out, but just enough. What do you think is being solved? I asked this question. I've got answers back like, well, if we ignore it, they win. Again, nobody's explained to me how that works exactly. How? And by the way, it's for all of you out there, the people who are constantly bitching about Marvel's communist agenda as well. Like, what are you? If I don't keep talking about, they'll win. They'll win what? They're the ones producing the comics. They've quote unquote won already. You talking about a message board is not going to change anything. Do you think like Bob Iger or somebody from the Disney board is going to wake up one day and be like, holy shit, did you see what this guy on Twitter wrote about our comics being communist? We should look into that. I mean, that'd be very funny actually to think about. That'd be, anyway. That's not happening. But the other, I've asked people, why do you do it? I've gotten the answer, well, they harass women and people need to know. They need to know that they harass women. Okay. All right, so it's a public service thing. We're saying, hey, we need to talk about these people incessantly every day about, F Comicsgate, these guys are irrelevant and they're pointless, because we want to warn women to keep an eye out for them. That's a weird flex. I mean, that's a weird strategy. By the way, if your message continuously is these people don't matter, they're irrelevant, then that's probably not the most supportive thing you can say to somebody getting harassed. I mean, the message you're sending there to the person getting harassed is, why are you bitching about being harassed? These people are irrelevant, right? Again, I mean, just play it out. I'm looking for an answer. Other answers I've gotten: oh, I'm just bored. I have fun harassing them. Okay, to me, that's the one that is the closest to acceptable. Like with the fan example, I think it's a really stupid way to entertain yourself, but at least you're admitting, A, you're just in it for the lulz. I mean, that's something. That's at least acknowledging on some level how completely irrelevant all this stuff is. But people ask, like, how do I feel? What do I feel? All the rest. I've done videos about that before. It's like you're asking the wrong guy in a lot of cases. But it's just, I just don't understand why people obsessively keep going into this stuff. It's not, it doesn't matter. It also feels like this whole social battle was kind of new and hip and exciting for people back in 2017. It's 2021. We've been through 80 years of pandemic in that time. I mean, like, who's horny by all this? Who's getting horny by all this anymore? Anyone? I don't know. It's just weird. This whole battle is strange, but the strangest part to me, to be honest, is why creators engage in it at all. I don't get it. I think if for whatever, if you're a independent guy and you're out wanting to create a comic, and CG's gonna give you an audience that you can go raise money from and get your comic out and get it to more people because you're joining that community, and that helps you out from a business perspective. I mean, cool, go to it. But beyond that, like, why if you're a variant cover artist for Marvel, like, what is your play here? And really, what's the fantasy? And this goes to the what if question I started with. What if you won? Actually, whatever it means, whatever winning in this scenario is, what if you actually won? What would it look like? What would happen? Seriously, I would love for people to just like cough it up and explain, like, what would winning be? Is it that one day you wake up and YouTube and Twitter has kicked Ethan Van Sciver off the air? Like, we realized on Wednesday that you're a hateful asshole and you're done, and you're all done. Bye. And then what? Indiegogo refunds all like, they're like, we realized that we shouldn't have been trafficking this guy's comic in the first place. He's gone, and Ethan has to like go out and do, like, part of his condition to, I don't know, whatever this in this, just tell me whatever this fantasy is. He has to like do a YouTube video where he like puts his hat in his hand. He's like, I'm sorry for being an asshole, and I was wrong, and you guys are right, and I hereby give the IP rights of Cyberfrog to fuck it, I don't know, Mags. She gets it now, and I have also agreed to 1,000 hours of public labor for Heather Ontos. I'm gonna like rake leaves in her yard, and then I'm gonna quietly disappear. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna just vanish. Or maybe you're a real sick asshole, and you're like, he's getting injected with COVID, and it's all over, just done. Is that your win scenario? I mean, first of all, we don't wish harm on anyone, and anyone who's thinking that is crazy, but you'd be surprised, again, how many people send me mail fantasizing about one person or another being dead as a result of this. That's where their heads are at. Like, the win scenario for them is death. And that's the whole other breed of sickness. But what do you want? I find, and why I use this in consulting a lot, is a lot of people never seem to know what they actually want. They complain, they make a lot of noise, they talk about three-dimensional chess games that they're having with other people to kind of fight the culture war and whatever else. But when it comes right down to it, what is it there? What do they want? What do they want? Or do they want just perpetual fighting? And more often than not, that's where I feel a lot of people's heads are at. What they want is just the attention of being able to bitch about this stuff forever. And that's a pathetic, stupid thing for people to want. Sorry, I'm not sorry. You're an idiot. If that's what you're after, just screw you. What a waste of time. What a waste of life. What is your win scenario? I'd love to sit around with some of these comic pros, anyway, from the Alex DeCampies to the Jamal Ingalls to the Kwanzaa. I mean, just what does Joe Glass want when it comes to this group? Them all to disappear. Are you hoping when you close your eyes and you have that dream fantasy of yours, you're hoping like a Thanos like character appears and just snaps his fingers and all of your enemies just poof go away in dust? Are you hoping that one day they're all just going to wake up simultaneously and go, "My God, we were wrong all this time"? What do you want? I have a feeling that if the people articulated this stuff, it would be the most childish, like 4-year-old fantasy you can imagine. It'd be like that, like the Paw Patrol comes in and gives them a good scolding. Maybe one of the dogs pees on them, and then they admit they were wrong, and they have to go off and live in the town with that weird mayor and the cat. My kids have not watched Paw Patrol in quite some time, so the memories are hazy. I apologize. I should know the names better, but what do you want? I don't understand why you're fighting this in the first place, honestly. And please if the comments don't come in with your own three-dimensional chess. Well, you see, they're trying to inflict socialism through NFTs that are coming in through a anti-blockchain communist agenda. Like, Jesus Christ! Just seriously, what do people want here? It has to be as simple as they're just fucking around, wasting time. So how about we stop wasting time? What do you say? Thanks for listening.